Hello everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about graphing form and the different things we can do with it. So there's a lot of different things now that we should have become comfortable with graphing form, which is listed on the paper right here and lots of other places. I just didn't put it on the first one. I really wanted to put it in the title, but it wouldn't let me. So y equals a parentheses x minus h squared plus k. That's the formula we're using. So these are in that formula already, and we want to identify the vertex of each parabola and decide if it opens up or down. In order to do that, I'm going to start by finding A, H, and K. So A in this problem is -1. Because there's a minus sign in front, there's no number with it, so it's -1. This A is +1. This A is 2, that A is -3. So A and then H and K. And H and K is a little tricky, mostly H is. K is clearly 6. And H is 2, but because this says minus in the formula and this is a +2, this 2 is negative. Now, that's weird. So what I like to think about is what we talked about with the Desmos activity in class about a week ago, maybe a little more than that, depending on when you're watching this, where we're talking about shifting left, right, up, and down. And so if I was to do this, this has been shifted left 2. So since it's been shifted left 2 and up 6, the vertex, the left is because it goes the opposite of what we expect when the number's inside the parentheses. So it does the opposite inside the parentheses. It's really important that we remember that. That's, again, why it's negative. So my vertex is h, k. Let's write that down right here. Vertex h, k. Direction of opening is the a value. Helps us determine that. So anyway, so my vertex is h, k. So that's going to be -2, 6. And this opens, since it's negative, it opens down. That's all you're doing on the first ones. I don't want to do the rest of them because it's fairly straightforward. If A is greater than 0, it opens up. Greater than 0 means positive. Okay, greater than 0, or the math there confuses you. If A is less than 0, it opens down. And that would be, of course, negative. If A is 0, you don't have a parabola. Okay, so it's either positive or negative. It cannot be 0. So those are our two choices, and then we decide. Opening up and down should be the easy part. The vertex should only be complicated with H. So good luck with those. Let's move on to, and actually I will challenge you to do number 2 with the answers showing up on Edpuzzle. So, number 2, go ahead and try that one. So it opens down, and my vertex is 2, 10. That's it. So let's move on. Number 5. So complete the square to rewrite the equation of the parabola in graphing form. So we want to do graphing form. We're going to rewrite. I'm going to use purple, I think, for these. And so the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to do number 5, is, wow, it's just blurry. We'll do number 5, and I have x squared minus 2x, squiggle, plus 11, and then another squiggle. I'm going to try to complete the square, which means I need a box. I know that this is x squared. I'm going to split this guy in half and share it equally. That's -1x here and -1x there to force the two sides to be identical. So my two sides will be x minus 1 and x minus 1, making this number -1 times -1, +1. So I'm going to add 1 right here, and I have to remove it as well. So whatever I add, I must remove. This becomes y equals, this part becomes x minus 1 squared, the edges of my box. And then I just do the math here. This part becomes 11 minus 1, which is plus 10. And so that is my final answer. And we've been practicing this for a little bit. Last week we did this in lesson 913. We also, which was on Thursday or Friday, depending on which class you're in. Last week being, that would be the 15th or 16th of April. Okay. And then we also had it for our homework, like the Thursday, Friday, the day before that class. Okay, so we've been practicing this for a little while. Hopefully you're getting good at it. Go ahead and try number 6, and I will have the answer come up in just a minute. So you'll see that I have y equals x minus 8 quantity squared. Half of 16, which went here and here, that was 8 and 8, both negative. 8 times 8 is 64, so I subtracted 64 from 74 and got 10. And again, that's just so you can check your work. You need to be doing them on your own. I'm not going to write the work down. So do your best. This needs to have work attached to it. All right, let's take a look at another set of problems. Use the vertex and the y-intercept to write the equation in graphing form of the parabola in graphing form. So we've got our vertex and our y-intercept. So what we know is we need to figure out what all the letters are. X and Y are going to stay there, and A and H are going to get replaced. So A, H, and K are going to get replaced. So my vertex, that's the easy part. Y equals A, parentheses, X minus the X coordinate of the vertex, squared, plus the Y coordinate of the vertex. And that's the easy part. The hard part then is to figure out what A is. So once I have this, I need to figure out what A is, and I do that by using substitution. And so I know that my y-intercept is negative 28, or 0, negative 28, 9, excuse me, is a point on this graph. So I know that when I plug in 0 for x, out y is negative 29. So negative 29 for y, A stays the same, x becomes 0, plus 3. So there's my problem. Cleaning up a little bit, negative 29 equals A times 0 minus 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Negative 4 squared plus 3. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. I get negative 32 equals 16a. I'm going to divide by 16. Negative 2 equals a. Okay, and so now that I know a, I go back to my blue equation. I have y equals, parentheses, x minus 4 squared plus 3. None of that changed. A is the only thing I have to have it make sense. And so A is negative 2. So good luck with number 8. Again, if you want to pause the video and do the problem, the answer will be here in a minute. If you don't want to pause the video, the answer will show up. You'll still need to have work to go verify it. Okay, so I have x plus 7 because it's a minus 7. Because the formula says minus, that becomes plus a negative, minus 9. And then I found 2. This is the math I did on the side to help me find 2. So I'm not going to leave that up for too long because I want you to do it. It's an intense little process, and the hardest part is finding A. That's the hardest part. So be aware of that. Okay, let's try something else. So now we're going to look at some graphs of our parabolas. So we want to use the graph to write the equation in graphing form. And although I did not go through the trouble of making sure they were on, you can see this beautiful 5-dot pattern. We've been practicing the 5-dot pattern when we were graphing in class, and they both have one. Okay, so that's important. Because the pattern is clean, we know that A equals 1 or A equals negative 1, depending on if it's opening up or down. So just like we had discussed a moment ago, opening up and down is the key here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 9 with you and have you do 10 on your own. We need to find the vertex. What do you think the vertex of number 9 is? Yes, the vertex is 4, negative 5. Cool. So I know right now that y equals a parentheses x minus 4 minus 5. Minus 4 quantity squared minus 5. And so it's opening down. Since it's opening down. And what we discussed when we were talking about them up here is it opens down when a is negative and opens up when a is positive. So since it's opening down, a must be negative, and since I have my basic 5-dot pattern, a must be negative 1. So my equation is y equals negative. You can put the 1 there or not. I'll put it here. X minus 4 quantity squared minus 5. Go ahead and see if you can figure out the answer to number 10. I'm not going to include it here. Good luck. All right, let's take a look at some more problems. So now we have what we've kind of done together. Here's the equation. Can you find the vertex? Can you then graph? So I'm going to go ahead and we'll do 11. Let's do 12. Make it easier for me to stay on camera. So if we're doing number 12, the first thing I'm going to do is find the vertex. And I like to think, when I have the equation, I actually like to think about the shifts. So this has shifted 6 left. And so since it's 6 left, it's negative 6. And it's also shifted up 1. And so since it's up 1, the y-coordinate is 1. And so my vertex is negative 6, 1. And I just use that to help me. So I'm going to go ahead and plot my vertex, negative 6, 1. Then I'm going to decide if this is opening up or down. This graph is opening up because the number in front of our parentheses is 1. It's greater than 0. Therefore, it's positive. So it's opening up. Since it's opening up, I use my 5-dot pattern that we've been discussing in class, and only in person. So we discussed it in class on Thursday or Friday, May. Just want to go back a month. April. See, I can't get the month right. I'm sorry. April's 15th or 16th. So there. Those are my 5 dots. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. Notice that this is a total of 1, 1, 3, 1. Whichever way works best for your brain to remember those 5 dots, there's my pattern. I want you to notice that every single one of these problems is that 5-dot pattern. It's just a question of whether it goes up or down. So it's going to look very similar to these 2 graphs when you're finished. The graphs will look similar. Okay? Except for that they'll be on these grids here. And that's all I'm going to do for you on this video. I hope that this was helpful. Good luck with completing this assignment, and I'll talk to you guys soon.